After 4 days of hard racing, only one man has answered the call. Andre Greipel has ruled the roads of South Australia. Time is running out if the contenders are to make a mark. Old Willunga Hill can be heartbreaking. And this is where the Santos Tour Down Under will be won or lost. Hello everyone and welcome to the Epic Cycle presented by Michelob Ultra. It's the penultimate day of the Santos Tour Down Under. We've moved south of Adelaide now to the start of Stage 5 at Snapper Point, 148 kilometres taking us to nearby Willunga. Hi everybody, I'm Phil Liggett, alongside me Paul Sherwin, and there is the scene at the start of what everybody is saying is the Queen Stage. 2 climbs of a big hill, Paul.
Matty White, the team manager of Garmin there, talking to Stuart O'Grady, wondering what the tactics are going to be like when we come down to the finishing circuit. I think everybody, Phil, a little bit of trepidation from Team Case d'Epargne, because Alejandro Valverde and his team, I think, have come here to light this race on fire.
And this is the man in the hot seat ever since day one, having won 3 of the 4 stages, Andre Greipel. And this is how he did it yesterday on the big finish in Goulwa on a very windy day, but again showing a clean pair of wheels to the race's top sprinters.
Well, this man has got great acceleration. That's Roy McEwen just on the left-hand side there, getting himself second place ahead of Greg Henderson and Gert Steegmans. But all top sprinters in the world in the top 6 places overall. Looking down at 7th place, Cadel Evans, Phil, is the best of the rest.
Yes, he is. 26 seconds off the possibility of taking Greipel's Oakers leader's jersey here. And he knows his only chance is to attack on the climb of the Old Willunga Hill.
To say this man, though, I think is going to try and do something special, because Case d'Epargne are a very well-drilled squad, and when you look at the names of the riders they brought to the event this year, they are going to have to do something special. But what a move yesterday by Lance Armstrong on the blustery road on the way down into the finishing line, because he rode off the front end of the main field with his teammate. Maybe not the best tactical manoeuvre, but certainly one that was good for the crowd.
Armstrong going into today's stage, though, 47 seconds off the pace.
I'll tell you who's sitting in the best position if the race is aggressive and hard is Cadel. I mean, I think he sets up because he got that time bonus into Sterling, and if he can get across with some teammates and then distance the sprinters, he sets up perfectly. So we'll see. It'll be, I suspect, the first time up Willunga, it's going to be aggressive.
Well, the route itself for Stage 5 is 148 kilometres. It starts at Snapper Point and it returns there on 2 occasions for Sprinsport. Then it heads down to Willunga.
Yeah, pretty flat to start off, but it's all really, Phil, about the climb of Willunga Hill at the end.
And the party is about to start now as the riders go underway. 148 kilometres. We'll be coming down this way a couple of more times for the Jayco sprints, and then we'll change direction and we'll start to climb the Old Willunga Hill on 2 occasions. Each time, Paul, we're based in this lovely little town of Willunga.
Yes, Phil, you know, every stage so far of the first 4 stages have been extremely aggressive and fast, and I don't see there being any difference at all today. And in fact, we didn't have to wait very long until we saw the first attack coming off the front, and it's Uni SA of Australia. David Kemp has gone straight out of the starting blocks. We will see a very aggressive circuit around here. I think trying to set up for a difficult race once we get to Willunga Hill, because I think we'll have a fine race this afternoon. Valeria Dmitriev is managing to go off the front end of this field. This is a team that is going to have to try and defend the championship of the Tour de France in the month of July, and they're going across into the breakaway now. Of course, is Lance Armstrong's big Gert Steegmans. He's the big sprinter now. They won't let this move go too clear off the front end of the main field, because Steegmans is one of those riders challenging for the top 5 positions. Organisation appearing now at the front end of the main field. Not a surprise at all to see the black, yellow and white jersey of HTC Columbia. They've all of a sudden said, enough's enough, let's control it, let's dictate the pace that makes us feel happy, not anybody else.
These riders have now lining up for the sprint on Snapper Point, as Paul says, at 40 kilometres covered. And it's 41 kilometres to get back round to this point for the second lap. And after they've done that, they then wander off to the Old Willunga Hill for the showdown. And then we'll see what sort of time gap it is.
There's Matty Wilson at the back there, number 157. As I said, he has lost a fair amount of time. He's 39th place overall. There's a little move coming over on the right-hand side, and that's the rider from Katusha. And immediately there, followed by the Astana rider, Dmitriev. As we said earlier, he's got a fair amount to gain here. And look at this acceleration coming over on the left-hand side.
Well, this is the big battle. Dmitriev wants these shoes. I think he got those. I'm not too sure. But it was by the skin of his racing tyre. But that's a 6-second bonus for him. Time for a quick break as Stage 5 continues. We'll be right back. Now the field, a lot of shuffling around here, a few anxious moments. You've got to be careful just here because of the boys handing up those drinks and bags. It's a dangerous moment in the race. Just a mistake and down goes half a dozen riders.
Looks like it is K. Stepanu who's come to the front. Finally some respite for HTC Columbia. They've been doing all of the pacemaking and basically doing pretty much what I expected them to do, just to lock it in at the 1.5 to 2 minute mark, as they realized once they came down to the crucial part of this race, somebody else would take up the pacemaking, and that's exactly what's happening here. And BMC have moved to the front as well, so obviously Cadell Evans is thinking about doing something. Well, Phil, it's unofficial, but in fact at the finishing line they were inside of 2 minutes. I made it unofficially 1 minute and 55 seconds, but in fact creeping through now through race rodeo, we're being told it's 1 minute and 45 seconds.
But these are the leaders here, and so far, Paul, they're not cracking. They're climbing as one unit.
They're staying as one unit. That's probably a fairly sensible thing to do, because it's a long way back down to the start of this climb from the summit as they circumnavigate this hill here in Willunga, and 7 riders working together have still got a greater chance of survival. Although the way that time gap, Phil, is plummeting, I would be surprised if they don't get caught very shortly.
Well, they're making it look rather easy, because that's exactly what it is not, I have to say. And at the moment we've got Dmitriev setting the pace at the front, followed by Michael Matthews, then it's Turpin, then it's the 2 boys on Garmin Slipstream is the old team, Garmin transitions is the new team. And then we've got the other 2 just sitting at the back here, and it looks as though Volganov is having a bit of trouble. They just keep it going at the moment and hope that they can just hold it together, keep a lead over the top. But they see the referee is now taking all vehicles out. That means the peloton or somebody is coming rather quickly behind. Well, Thomas Royroger, the leader in the King of the Mountains, is crossing the gap by himself.
Yep, he's looking for points, Phil. He wants to try and make sure that he runs out the overall winner in the King of the Mountains here this afternoon. A very experienced rider. He's got a big lead. He doesn't really need lots and lots of points in this King of the Mountains classification, but if you do want to be the King of the Mountains, why not lay down the foundations on Willunga Hill to be the champion of that competition?
Well, he's looked very good all week on the mountains. He's actually gone hunting for these points. He's not taken any line down. It's not been luck he's been in this leader's jersey, and he's going again on the first climb of the Old Willunga Hill. He is a rider who is 1 minute 20 seconds behind Greipel overall, so it's unlikely he'd gain that sort of a time to win the race, and that might be the only reason that they haven't chased him down yet. But he's nearly on the back here. Wilson is setting the pace. Gutierrez is the man dangling off the back. This is a soup. Now, if this guy does win the King of the Mountains competition, it looks like it. He's deserved it. He has really worked for this, and he's got to go. I don't know what that sign said, but it was only about 100 metres.
Hundreds of metres to go to the finish. It's in fact just around this right-hand bend. He's done a great job here. He's ridden across what was a 2-minute gap, dragged himself, turned himself inside out, went straight past the leading group of 7 riders, and now he has flown the coop. And every corner he looks around, he's looking to see whether or not he can grasp a sign. But there you can see Dmitriev there. He wants to try and get himself some points, but he doesn't have very many points in the overall classification here. What's more important, though, is the phenomenal ride that Royroger did.
Well, hats off, though, to Dmitriev. Perhaps Thomas would have been better, just taken a couple of deep breaths and then gone, but he's just missed out. Dmitriev's gone over first. Royroger will have gone over in second. That's enough to keep him in the clear lead. And it looks like Gutierrez has gone over now as well. So the race is slightly split up. Now we'll turn left here. That's the left turn. And for a second we stay flat, and then we start to fall away off this escarpment and back round towards the finish. Now all heads twitching in, oh dear. Well, that's it, isn't it? It was just coming off the hills, and the peloton has got them in sight as they approach the end of this lap. We'll drop down onto the highway, which takes us back into Willunga, and then it is going to be an all-out sprint to the base of the hill. I can't see any alternative now. Time for a quick break on the Epic Cycle, presented by Michelob Ultra.
Well, there's no messing around now, no hiding in the main field, no shadow boxing. This is the moment. If you want to win this year's Santos Tour Down Under, you have to go for it. And Cadel, for the first time, Phil, is using his team. The first time that he's really got together with this squad this year. As you can see, Frances de Jeux moving forward, keeping the pressure on, trying to see whether or not they can create the surprise. That was Michael Cherel. And it looks as if it could be the big setup here for their man Sulzberger, who's in second spot.
That's 101 is Sulzberger. But you know, Cadel Evans has always been said he's never had a good enough team to look after him. Well, you saw the whole team there tried to put him in a position, and I don't know if you noticed, but Lance Armstrong was right alongside Cadel Evans, and this is the move.
It looks like Popovic there looking over his shoulder. Where are you, Lance? Because there is a slight gap starting to appear here. Sulzberger obviously has asked his teammates to go forward and put the pressure on. Cadel is making the move. This could be the move that changes the top end of the overall classification. And his team, Phil, are burying themselves for him. And he's going to take over now.
There is a small win bonus, of course, for the winner and the first three. But at the moment, Cadel is looking for a gap of 26 seconds to become the ochre jersey for tomorrow. And he's in a wonderful position now, and he's got Sulzberger with him as well, and Popovic hanging on to the coattails, and our ever-present rider 123 Gorka Izagirre is also in this move. Crack, bang, the legs have gone. It was Sebastian Rosler, Paul, who blew.
Well, if Sulzberger can stay with him over the summit of this climb, Phil, he will then all of a sudden become a very important ally, because it's a long way from the top of the climb here of Willunga Hill back down to the finish in Willunga, and he needs somebody alongside to assist him. He is looking at the start of the day for around about 26 seconds if he's going to dethrone Andre Greipel at the top end of the leaderboard. Greipel obviously is in a little bit of difficulty here on the climb, but he mustn't panic. He's got to make sure he doesn't lose too much time, and then he's got to try and claw his way back into the race over the top and then down the descent. It's amazing to see. You know, Cadel doesn't like to start the season off in great form, and he said he hadn't really done anything very special. There's another move. This is Alejandro Valverde coming across. The attacks are seriously now coming thick and fast on this crown of a climb that we call Willunga Hill, and Cadel Evans has gone.
He's had to go, but what a sight this is, whatever happens. The world champion, the homeboy, who's the world #1 bike rider, dancing on the pedals in a hill in South Australia. It is an organiser's dream come true. Cadel climbs now towards the summit of this climb. He's not interested in the points at the top. He wants the victory at the bottom, and then the clock starts. Valverde now is trying to put matters to rights as well. He could take this race as well. He's taking with him too. Peter Sagan is also riding up. Number 146 there has got 20 stitches in that left knee, and he said, don't put me out the race, I want to finish. And he's right up in the overall standings of this race, and he's only 19.
When he had that very dramatic accident on the road into Harndorf, the first thing he said to the race organisation was, stitch me up as well as you can, because I don't want to abandon the Santos Tour Down Under. I want to stay here. But he obviously knew that he had very good form as well. But we didn't expect the kind of form that the world champion is displaying here this afternoon. Number 21, rainbow bands around him, champion of the world for the first time by any Australian at this level of the sport. Cadel Evans is really making a demonstration.
But this isn't just form. This is a different Cadel Evans. This is the other side of winning a world title. This is a man now full of determination, full of confidence, and right up behind him is Luis Leon Sanchez has come up now. Valverde, the super domestique, is trying to drag a previous winner of this race up to Cadel Evans, and it's Sanchez is the teammate of Valverde. Look at the crowd now as they spot the rainbow jersey. Is there going to be gold at the end of this rainbow? That's the question.
Well, Sanchez is looking for about 30 seconds at the start of the day over Andre Greipel, but if these riders, they are getting together, this is the turning point possibly, Phil, of this race. These are strong men. You're looking here at Valverde, Luis Leon Sanchez, Cadel Evans, and of course the young rider in the lime green of Liquigas. He's a young guy on the way up, but we've seen that Peter Sagan has got great form in this race. Wow, I wonder where Greipel is now.
Well, this is not bad news for Cadel Evans to get help like this, because Cadel Evans has a few seconds advantage over the other riders alongside him. They could help carry him through, and if they regain the lost time, it would still be Evans, the leader of the Tour. He'll work with these guys.
They will all work together. Once they've got over the summit of this climb, they all know they could be looking at the podium positions here in the Santos Tour Down Under this year, 2010. But Cadel Evans has made a serious demonstration, and we were right at the start of the day to talk about Case d'Epargne. They didn't come here on holiday. They didn't come here to see a few kangaroos and koalas. They came here to race.
The finish of Stage 5 is approaching. We'll take a break and come right back. Welcome back to the Epic Cycle presented by Michelob Ultra and the 12th edition of the Santos Tour Down Under. These boys are creaking round the edges now. Sagan is still the flick of the right elbow. That's the cyclist side saying, come on through and give us a hand. Cadel's gone through. But is it going away from him now? Are they closing in just too close? Inside 2 kilometres. These boys are doing short turns now. Desperate turns at the front as we watch Anders Lund go through Versaxesbank. Greipel himself has been working on the front. We didn't catch it that time, but he's actually doing it himself now. The team are trying to save the day as well. Katusha are driving here. They're riding for Robbie McEwen and for their big man of the moment, Vorganov. 19 seconds is now the gap, and so there's no Oka jersey unless Cadel Evans wins the day. Then he'll lead, but he's got to win now. It is desperate. Who would thought you had to be a mathematician to watch a bike race? But as we see them coming up towards the finish now, we're going to see 1 kilometre to go. I think it might be 1 kilometre too far, but then let's also think of Andre Greipel, who has had to fight for his life back there. Now they look at each other. Sagan is beginning to think he might win this stage while the infighting starts between these 3 riders. He's gone away a little bit, but they're trying to redress the situation. 4 riders going to the finish. They gambled everything on that one climb of the Old Willunga Hill. Evans was superb, and Valverde grabbed hold of Sanchez and dragged him up to the back wheel of Cadel Evans. And between them, they've tried to rule this race today. In the distance, you can see the peloton. I suspect that is about 15 to 17 seconds, and that should be enough for Andre Greipel to go into tomorrow with just a couple of seconds advantage overall. And really, that's going to make the last stage rather interesting. I think you might agree. These boys are just on the limit of their ability today, because here comes the mass charge behind. Are they going to even make the line right now? Because the line seems to be an awful long way down this road. Somebody has taken a flyer off the peloton and is trying to reach them here. And Cadel Evans has slowed now. Sagan looks over his shoulder. Who on earth is this coming across to join them with a heroic effort to catch the lead in sight of the flag? Well, I really thought they'd done it, and there's a counter-attack again. Sanchez is having none of it. It's important for him to win. Cadel Evans has got to dig deep. The finish is as far as you can see. It's a long way away. Confusion is rife because the peloton has now tickled onto the back of the breakaway. What a terrific finish this is in Willunga. We've seen them all before, but not this time. Sanchez finished second to Contador here in 2005. Is he going to do enough to win here? A final dash for the line by Luis Leon Sanchez. He'll get a 10-second bonus as he now tries to get the win. He's in the barriers, and now they're coming after him here as best they can. But it looks to me as though Sanchez might just about hang on here. He's being chased down here by Milram. I don't think it's Luke Roberts, but it might be as they close down. It could be Robert Foster. But Sanchez has won the stage, and he's got the 10-second time bonus. And he's quite right in saluting himself there. I think it was Luke Roberts who got second as the field come in, and what a result. But the sad news is there's no Oka jersey, because that will stay on the shoulders of Andre Greipel, and quite honestly, you deserve to keep it after a chase like that.
That was a perfectly timed move by Luis Leon Sanchez, I have to say, Phil. It could have been completely different if they'd had a bit more time. But what a ride by Luke Roberts, the only man to make the junction with the breakaways and split them up on the line, up into second.
It really was inspired. He was the only one to reach those 4 riders, finishing 2 seconds behind Sanchez, 4 behind Valverde, and Evans also 4 seconds off. There were many riders who would have qualified for the ride of the day and what was the best stage of racing of the week, but the Michelob Ultra ride of the day goes to Luis Leon Sanchez. He tried to take the race lead as well as win the stage. It was only the big chase back by Andre Greifel's Columbia team that spoilt it for him. Nonetheless, he hung on to take the stage victory. So that is the Michelob Ultra ride of the day. And as a result, Sanchez now second overall, 11 seconds behind Greipel, 17 for Roberts, who comes up into third. But really, I bet Andre Greipel is pretty happy tonight.
Was there a moment when you started to panic?
There was no point to panic, or we had no time to panic, because we just needed to chase. It was 40 seconds. We were 40 seconds behind at the climb, and Mick Rogers, Hayden Ralston and Matthew Goss just started to chase them, and just awesome.
And that wraps it up for Stage 5. Be sure to check out live coverage of the final stage tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on our website versus.com. And we'll also have Stage 6 coverage tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can follow us on Twitter at VS Cycling. For Paul Sherwin, I'm Phil Liggett saying so long for now.